bought a lottery ticket? Did you know that when you bought that lottery ticket, there was pretty much a 0% chance you'd win? Did you know that millions of students in Florida and Georgia are indirectly winning the lottery? How is this possible? Florida and Georgia have allotted revenue from their state lotteries for an educational budget to ensure that their citizens can attain higher education. In order to make higher education more affordable for all citizens in the United States, I am proposing that all states be required to adopt state-funded programs to ensure their citizens can attain higher education if they wish. How much is higher education costing Americans today? In the past 10 years, tuition has increased by 42%. In the past year, it's increased by 2.9%. This increase in cost is causing an increase in borrowing. The Washington Post found that 39% of all tuition being paid is done through borrowing. 23% of this borrowing is student borrowing, and 16% is parent borrowing. What's the solution to this increasing cost of higher education? In 1993, Georgia found the solution. They created the Georgia Hope Scholarship, which is funded 100% through the Georgia State Lottery. In just 1 year, the Georgia State Lottery brought in $360 million for education. And since its inception, it's brought in $7.2 billion to help over 1.5 million students. In the 2012-2013 Georgia State Lottery, 25.5% of the revenue went towards a fund for higher education. In order to be eligible for the Georgia Hope Scholarship, you need to graduate high school with a 3.0 GPA, receive an 1850 on the SAT, or a 26 on the ACT. If you meet these requirements, the state of Georgia will ensure that you can attain higher education if you wish. Georgia set an example, and in 1997, Florida adopted a similar program known as the Florida Bright Futures Program, which can be broken down into the Florida Academic Scholars and the Florida Medallion Scholars. In order to be eligible for the Florida Academic Scholars, you need to graduate high school with a 3.5 GPA, receive a 28 on the ACT, and do 100 hours of community service. If you meet these requirements, the state of Florida will ensure that your tuition for higher education will be paid for 100%. In order to be eligible for the Florida Medallion Scholarship, you need to graduate high school with a 3.0 GPA, receive a 22 on the ACT, and complete 75 hours of community service. If these requirements are met, the state of Florida will ensure that 75% of your tuition is paid for from the state. Since its inception, the Florida Bright Futures program has generated $4.3 billion towards education and helped over 650,000 students. Meet Jimmy Smith, a recipient of the Florida Academic Scholars Scholarship. He stated, "My Bright Futures Scholarship has really eased the financial strain of attending college. I am really grateful for it." Michael Riley, another recipient of the scholarship, stated, "Without the help I received from my Bright Futures Scholarship, I would be leaving school with a mountain of debt." What can you do to make higher education more affordable? Contact your state representatives and fight for state-funded higher education. 43 states already have a state lottery, yet only 2 of them are putting funds towards higher education. They are cheating our students out of higher education. Don't let yourself be cheated out of higher education. The Washington Post found that states are fulfilling their mandatory educational budgets with revenue from the lottery. The revenue generated from the lottery should be going towards extra funds for higher education instead of fulfilling mandatory state budgets. Stand up for yourself and fight for state-funded higher education.